Kyrie had enough points. They just didn't make enough stops. They made the stops in the third quarter, not in the fourth quarter. 31 points on a night where Luka Doncic wasn't really doing that much in terms of scoring for the Dallas Mavericks. They still scored 31 in the fourth.
But two successive trips down the floor, KD was on Luka, and Luka made two big shots with Kevin Durant guarding him. And as we talked about just before, it was a rough shooting night for Kevin Durant down the stretch defensively, too.
Yeah, it really was. Now, early on, Kevin Durant was really good. He had 16 points in the first half, 6 of 11 shooting. But again, I think that foul trouble, because early on in the third quarter, he picked up that fourth foul. Steve Nash had him sit down, and he went a long time between baskets. See this basket right here? Kevin Durant does not hit another shot until right here in the fourth quarter. So it was about 26 minutes of actual basketball time between. Now, he scored, he knocked down a couple of free throws, but that's between field goals. 26 minutes for Kevin Durant.
20 points in those 26 minutes, 7 of 21 from the field, 9 boards, 3 assists in 36 minutes. Just not his night. But as you said, Frank, there's going to be nights like this where Kevin Durant maybe just doesn't have it. It's gonna be once in a blue moon, and tonight, unfortunately, was the blue moon.
And you could tell he tried to get into it in the fourth quarter, missed 3 straight, finally made that one shot, and then the next couple of times down, he couldn't find the basket. It's just an off night for him all the way around. I think what's disappointing for the Brooklyn Nets now is especially the last 3 games. They've all been tight games, playoff type of scenarios, and they haven't executed both offensively and defensively.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is the time of year where you want to kind of sort that out and figure it out, because you're getting close to the playoffs.
Well, what about this? What about dealing with adversity? I know it's right before the playoffs. You don't want to go into the playoffs like this. No one wants to go in slumping, especially with their longest losing streak of the year. But it's good to face some adversity, especially before James Harden comes
Absolutely.
back.
And it's good to see them facing really good teams, and they're going to get another one on Saturday night when they go in to play Denver, a team that's also playing for something. They're playing for seeding in the Western Conference, and they have an MVP candidate in their team in Nikola Jokic. I think for Steve Nash, what has to be frustrating, their inability down the stretch of some of these games, because think about it. On, the other night against Milwaukee, it was an 18-1 run in the fourth quarter, which changed things. Tonight, it's a 13-2 run. Now, there are runs all the time in a game, but the Nets have too much talent to allow something like that. So that's 2 runs that have killed them.
And those runs were critical points in the game as well. So let's take a look now at the Eastern Conference standings, show you graphically what Frank was talking about. Now, the Nets only have that half-game lead on the Bucks, and Milwaukee, as Frank alluded to, plays the Rockets tomorrow night. Houston, the worst record in the league, so you would think that Milwaukee will handle the Rockets, and they will move into the 2 seed. And you're looking at the Nets, if the season ended after that, facing the Celtics in the first round.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. So 1, 2, and 3 in the Eastern Conference is still up in the air, but so is 4, 5, 6, and 7. That group of teams all can move because they're kind of bunched up. Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee are going to finish in the top 3 seeds. We don't know what order it's going to be, but those other teams, so they could be playing anybody really in the first round. It could be
maybe the Miami Heat.
It could be the Miami Heat, which is going to be, that would be a difficult opponent. That, with an experienced coach in Eric Spoelstra, a group that it went to the finals.
Richard Jefferson and Sarah Kustok.
Thank you, Chris. Well, Richard, tough way to finish off that game for the Nets. Kyrie Irving was brilliant throughout this one, but just not enough help from others. And also some struggles defensively. Once again, we in particular saw how that impacted the Nets in their inability to close this one out. Put in perspective what you saw in that fourth quarter in particular, just the way that the Nets continue to have such a difficult time in closing out these games.
Well, you have to go back to the first quarter. They, mind you, the Nets are always going to be able to score points, but you give up, an almost 40-point quarter to the Dallas Mavericks. So now they're feeling good. They're at home. They've been playing well. They're playing confident. Obviously, the Brooklyn Nets have been struggling a little bit, but once you get that rhythm, and once the other guys, because it wasn't just Luka. Luka kind of struggled tonight, so it was more of the other players that were able to give confidence. And I think down this stretch, as you look to close, they have to starting the game defensively, and I think that will help you in the end.
Richard, what does a team take away from a loss like this. Brooklyn, of course, try to finish out this regular season and get whole, hopefully get James Harden back. But a season-long 4-game losing streak, we know that this 5-game road trip was going to be a tough one, especially given the impact and significance that it has as they continue to vie and hold on to that second seed with Milwaukee. When you look at this group, when you look at just the mentality they need to have, what can they take from this loss as they try and get themselves back in the win column?
Well, I'm going to say something that they probably aren't saying in this locker room is that they're fine. And the reason why I say this is you have a Milwaukee team that has so much more continuity. They have their guys. They've been under their coaching staff, and they had some very, very close games against Milwaukee, opportunities to win this game. Obviously, guys didn't play great. So here you come against Dallas. So you lose 2 games to the Milwaukee Bucks. You lose to the Dallas Mavericks on the road. And then here, you look at a team that's going to add James Harden hopefully soon. So you're still playing great, but I think it shows the importance of having your full roster when you get to that playoff moment, because these teams are getting better. Luka's playing great. You see the Bucks were playing great, and I think right now the Brooklyn Nets are looking a little tired, a little fatigued.
Yeah, well, talk about teams getting better. It doesn't get any easier for the Nets on this trip as they head to Denver on Saturday night, a team that is vying for that 3 seed with the LA Clippers currently tied. What do you expect out of the Nuggets, potential MVP candidate in Nikola Jokic, just what the Nuggets will be bringing to the table, considering how much is on the line for them as well as they close out the season?
Well, you have another team that is missing, a superstar. Obviously, Jamal Murray is not going to be coming back this season. But Aaron Gordon, if you look at his impact and what obviously Nikola Jokic has been doing, this is a very well-balanced team. And Michael Porter Jr. poses a lot of threats on the offensive end. And that's a very good offensive team in the Denver Nuggets. So I'll put it in the exact same thing. You have to come out and hit first, not just offensively, but on the defensive end. If teams have their confidence in the fourth quarter or in the first quarter, it's going to make things easier in the fourth quarter for teams. So I think the Nets really need to come out, try and make an impact on that defensive end, because that offense, as we know, will always be there.
Yeah, another late night call that
the James Harden trade, when Harden doesn't play, but Kyrie and Kevin Durant play. So 4-6, and it's a season high 4th straight loss. Let's get the thoughts from head coach Steve Nash.
Hey, Coach, what was most glaring from an execution standpoint in that fourth quarter?
But, I thought we turned it over a little bit early in the fourth, but, a part of it is just missing shots tonight, and so you make shots we normally make, we get to our spots, maybe it's a different outcome, but then that always leads me to what could we control. So you always look at your mistakes. Execution at both ends defensively. We made probably too many errors if you're not going to shoot the ball as well as we normally do, and some of those errors cost us, I think.
4 losses in a row. I know every game is unique, but have you noticed any commonalities? It's a sign of something that you want to clean up in these final 5 games.
I mean, I think what we're seeing right now as we get down to these games, we're playing high quality teams that want to win for playoff seeding. It's a little bit of uncharted territory for this group. So this is good for us, frankly. We all want to win every night, and I would have much preferred to win tonight, but some adversity, some higher level